Next up is my interview, the government segment. Nick Barber, your host, and my special guest as part of Women's History Month is Karen Johnson. Karen Johnson is the former mayor, the first female mayor of the City of Schenectady, actually and the only female mayor of the City of Schenectady, and current county legislator from District 1 in the City of Schenectady. So let's watch Karen Johnson telling us about her experiences in government. Hi everybody, and welcome to Impact. This is the government segment, and I'm Nick Barber, your host. Today we have as our guest Karen Johnson. Hi Karen.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Karen is the county legislator for District 1, the City of Schenectady, former mayor of the City of Schenectady, the first and only woman ever elected to mayor in the City of Schenectady. So she's got a long history of public service and community service, I'd say. So how are you, Karen?
Great, and what an education that has been. I think I've learned about reservoirs, paving, potholes, police management, a ton of things that, you know, it's been an opportunity.
It is a learning experience,
for personal
isn't it?
growth, and
yes.
also I happen to like the part about helping people.
Yes. Oh, speaking of helping people, before we go any further, I want to thank you for being a guest host on Impact for me in the government segment when I was out with my minor surgery.
Well,
so,
no one could be happier than I
oh, really?
back on the air.
I heard you had rave reviews that you did great.
Well, I don't know about that,
yeah,
but
well,
I'm very happy to have you back.
It was nice of you. Yeah, it was very nice of you, and it's great to have you as a guest because you have a lot of stories to tell. I mean, when did you start in government? What prompted you to get involved in public service?
Well, first, when I moved to Schenectady, I got involved in school board politics because
okay.
I was my children weren't even born at that time, but
yeah,
I just felt it was really important for a community to have a good school system.
Yeah.
And I was going to live here, and by golly, I was going to do what I could to make that work.
Great.
And there were a lot of people at that time that were looking at taxes versus educational quality. So I got involved in a campaign, and some folks saw me. Mm-hmm. And so in 1974, I decided to run for the council.
Wow, the 70s, great.
And this goes back quite a ways. I was
Yep.
just a young kid then.
Yes, of course you were. You still are.
I don't know about that, but I loved campaigning. I mean, it's a wonderful, fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Serving today is getting a lot harder.
Yes.
It was a little more fun then.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, it's less expensive, too. I think it's expensive to run for office today. I mean,
yes.
with all the competitiveness and the funding coming from different sources, it takes money. The cost of literature and television or whatever you're going to use is quite expensive.
Well, my favorite part of campaigning has always been the door-to-door work.
Right.
And I think that, you know, people say, well, we haven't seen you for 4 years. Well, I don't think they perhaps appreciate how much energy it takes to walk the whole city through. And then you might only find on a street 1 out of 5 people home.
Right.
But I think we really need to figure out how to communicate with people. That's one of the real challenges in government that we're facing today. We've got a lot of people that are very distant from government, and we need to get everybody more working together.
Yeah. Well, local government is probably the most interesting and dynamic government because it's closer to the people, as you say. And a lot of elected officials, well, some of them don't get that involved in the community, and others are very heavily involved in the community. So during your term, I see you all over the city of Schenectady, all over the county. I know you're involved with many other organizations, volunteer boards.
And you get to have a lot of chicken dinners.
Yeah, you do. Rubber chicken dinners, we used to call them.
But they're
yeah.
wonderful and
Yeah.
ziti. I mean,
Yeah.
the meals in Schenectady are fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, the food is great, and the people are great. You meet
They
so many nice,
absolutely are.
interesting people.
And people have been so kind and generous.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I have found that if you have to do something that's a little hard in government, that if people understand why you're doing it,
Yeah.
they'll forgive you if they don't quite agree with you.
That's a very good
As long as
point.
you can articulate and also receive the information they want to give you.
Yeah, it's the unexpected and the unknown or surprises that people react negatively to. But I guess you're right. If you tell them what you're doing and why it has to be done, I think they can deal with that. Yeah.
So the trick is, and that's why Impact is potentially making a wonderful contribution, is that you can discuss issues here where
Yes.
so many people, you can't directly face-to-face talk to them because
Yes.
you just can't figure out where a bunch of them are.
That's right.
I mean,
That's why
some
we're
people you can find, but not all.
Yeah, with this show, we're trying to reach out to the community, and if people want to make comments or have questions, you can always get a hold of us by email. Just go to impact@proctors.org, or you can watch us on Facebook, Impact Show on Facebook. So if you have a question for me or any other guests or suggestions or comments on Karen Johnson, her duties and experience, let's hear from you.
So people can even call you, contact you, and tell you what guests to have on.
They could.
You'll take it under
Sure,
consideration,
if they have a
I bet.
suggested guest, or if you want to be on and you have something to add and want to put out to the community, we'd be happy to hear from you. So tell me, you're the first mayor. I know you're modest, but the first woman mayor, that's pretty significant. You go in City Hall and you see that wall with all the former mayors, you know, the older guys with the mustaches back from 1890, and you see this wall of people, and there's Karen Johnson.
You want to know
when did you serve as mayor? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, about 84 to 92, but
Yeah.
I got to tell you the backstory of why
Go
I
ahead.
got to run
Yeah.
for mayor. The Democratic chairman at that time was Ted Burbalis, who is known by many old-timers in Schenectady. And he decided that somehow that year running a woman was a winning formula.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even have an interview by the committee. He
Uh-huh.
just lined it up for me, and I ran.
He's tag you're it.
Yes. and,
Yeah.
You know, and I certainly never particularly had that ambition,
Yeah.
but there I was.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the first day I went in to my office, and the prior mayor, Frank Ducey, who's well known to people on OSM,
Yes.
had cleared out every single paper out of the files, and we sat there with just about nothing.
Wow.
So I think one of the tough questions for Schenectady is how do you really provide continuity between the mayors when they change?
The transition's very important. It's a people's
very
government,
important.
documents, programs,
Well, negotiations.
duplicating efforts, contracts. Yeah, that's
Right.
pretty important.
And even more than that, you know, what relationships were built up with other governments? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, like right now, the city is collecting garbage in the village of Scotia. Their wastewater is coming to the city. There are a lot of intermunicipal deals that are
Mhm.
made. We have trades, different streets are plowed.
Yes.
We take two streets, we trade them,
Yes.
even though they might be in the opposite jurisdiction because it just fits in the routes better.
Right.
And all that stuff has to be memorialized somewhere.
Sure. You've served heavy experience in the city as the mayor, and you served as a county legislator for a number of years now. What issues or problems or unique situations can you identify between city government and county government? First of all, being a city representative in a county board is a little confusing for some people.
Right.
'Cause they think you're still in City Hall or you pick up the garbage or whatever. But as far as cooperation and coordination of governments, the county legislator and the city, is there work to be done?
Well, there definitely is work to be done, but one of the things when people think about, well, you can consolidate all these different things,
Mhm.
is the county really does a lot of different things
Yes.
than the city does. I mean, they do social services, they
Yes.
do Medicaid, they have the jail, they have the college, they have the airport, and some of the things they share would be purchasing the streets and highways,
Mhm.
a limited amount of public safety through the sheriff's office,
Right.
but not that much. So you have to kind of realize that they are different entities and different roles.
Mhm.
And we certainly don't have the members of the public coming in complaining to us so much. In fact, sometimes I think the county is kind of an obscure government
Mhm.
for the regular person on the street.
Yeah.
But
It's a lot quieter than the city. I mean, the city, I remember you and all others, a lot of vocal people at the meetings, you know, at the privilege of, which is a good thing. That's, you know, that's America, you know, but freedom of speech. But the county is a little more quiet, maybe because it's a pass-through government. You get a lot of money,
a lot
programs
of
that are
things,
passed through from the
right.
state and applied to the county, and not a lot of there are direct services, but not a lot of direct services.
They're more to low-income people
Yeah.
in terms of medical care or daycare and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the city does the clean and safe things. They keep the roads plowed. They keep them
Yes.
and good within the city.
Yes.
And they have the police and fire department, and those are the things that really affect people's life on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
But what I'm noticing right now is that the legislators from the city, and there are 6 of us, are becoming very concerned about how we can help the city, because it seems as though the city has a lot of needs right now.
Yes.
And we live there.
Yes.
In fact, we're also concerned about the school district, because together, the council, everybody who's in government, realizes that our school system is a key to whether people want to live in our community.
Yes.
Just as the quality of city services are.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know where that's going to go, but there's a lot of conversation going on right now about how we maybe can work together a little more.
Well, that's constructive. I mean, having some kind of coalition between the school district, the county government, city government, to see
Right.
how you can complement each other, and just to communicate. I mean, you're serving as a county legislator. That doesn't mean you should be an expert on school district matters or school budgets, but it'd be nice to be aware of them to see how one government affects another.
Right. Incidentally, we have just gotten a grant to work with several school districts and the county on consolidation of purchasing. So
Well, there's a good administrative area that
Right.
could work. That could work.
So we don't have the final answer, and we're still trying to consolidate dispatch, police dispatch. We had $1 million grant for the state, from the
Yes.
state,
Yes.
and it seems like a really logical idea, and the homework has been done, and the plan is made, and we just can't get everybody to agree. Right now, basically the town of Glenville is a little problematic, but we got to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to make it a safer county, and it's going to help everybody.
Well, it's getting leaders together and getting agreements, just like the sales tax agreement. I'm sure those negotiations are difficult too, distribution of sales tax money between the city and the towns. Well, you know, Karen Johnson, we're running out of time, I'm afraid. You see, you've done this before and it goes fast.
Yes.
It's a brief interview, but you have so much knowledge and background that I hope we come back again on Impact, and maybe you can update us as to issues that are occurring here in the county and the city, and keep us posted and let the public know what's happening.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
So come back again, okay? All right. Thank you very much, Karen Johnson, former mayor of the City of Schenectady and county legislator for District 1 in the county legislature.